Welcome to Business on Top, where women are building empires, becoming breadwinners, and redefining the dynamics of their households without a playbook. I'm Kaeli Lindholm, mom, wife, founder, and leadership advisor to a portfolio of female-owned businesses generating over $100 million in annual revenue. Most business advice was never designed for women leading and building at this level. That's why each week I'll open the vault and share a leadership lesson from real experience, so you can navigate the decisions you're making every day with confidence. If you are a serious female founder and leadership feels messy right now, you're in the right place. We are rewriting the rules for this next era of how women lead and build. This is Business on Top. Let's go. Hello, leader. Welcome back to Business on Top. There are certain moments as a parent where you realize your job has just suddenly changed. And it isn't some big milestone like your kid's first day of school or getting their driver's license. It's something as simple as sitting in the bleachers at one of their games and realizing suddenly you're watching the game. Let me tell you a quick story. The other day, I caught myself looking over at a mom chasing her toddler around the park. And it was like every other 30 seconds, she was getting pulled into another direction, kid going one way, the other way. 1 minute, the baby was climbing the bleachers. The next, the other one wanted a snack and then had to go to the bathroom. Then he was trying to pick something disgusting up off the ground. And this mom was just going crazy. And I remember those days so clearly because I lived them, obviously. There was a season where I couldn't finish a conversation without being interrupted. I couldn't sit still for more than a minute. And honestly, just making it through the day felt like a win. Now my boys are older. They're 14 and 17. They don't need me in that same way anymore, And sometimes I ask myself, do they still need me? Absolutely. But what they need from me has changed so drastically. I'm not making every decision for them anymore or protecting them from every obstacle. It's really a mind fuck, excuse my French, honestly, because my job is now preparing them for obstacles that I won't be there to solve. The way I parent today looks completely different than it did years ago. And somewhere in between watching, that little boy run circles around his mom and then watching Luke out on the lacrosse field, I had this thought. Building a business isn't all that different. One of the biggest mistakes I see founders make, and if I'm being honest, one of the mistakes I've made myself, is assuming that our business is the thing that's growing. It's not. We are. Or at least we're supposed to be. Because every stage of business asks something different of us as leaders. The version of you that had the courage to open your doors isn't the same version of you that's going to build $1 million business. And it certainly isn't the same version that's going to lead a team of 20 people, protect your culture, make $1 million decisions, and ultimately create a business that gives you your life back. The version of you who personally answered every single email, solved every problem, and made every decision isn't the version that your business needs once there are 5, 15, 20 people depending on you. And that's where so many of us stall. We keep trying to lead today's business with yesterday's version of ourselves. So I've been thinking about this a lot over the past few weeks as our team officially launched something that's been on my heart for a really long time. Over the last decade, we've had a front row seat to hundreds of founders building these really incredible businesses. We've watched women cross their first $1 million, then their second, third, and for some, many millions beyond that. We've watched them build incredible teams, navigate some of the hardest seasons of their lives, and completely redefine what success actually looks like for them. It's amazing. And if you ask me what the biggest lesson has been from all of these years, it actually isn't anything like tactical. It's this. Businesses don't outgrow strategy first, they outgrow leadership. And I'll say that again because I think it's worth letting it sink in. Businesses don't outgrow strategy, they outgrow leadership. It's interesting. I've never once had a founder call me and say, Kaeli, I think I've outgrown my leadership. That's never the conversation. The conversation sounds more like my team isn't taking ownership, or I'm working harder than ever, but somehow making less progress, or I don't understand why everything still keeps coming back to me. Or we're making more money than ever, but this feels heavier instead of easier. They think they're calling me with an operations problem or systems problem or people problem, but almost every single time it's a leadership evolution issue. Every ceiling I've ever watched a founder hit eventually came back to the same thing. It wasn't that they didn't know what to do. It was that the person who built the business wasn't yet the person who could lead the next version of it. And the good news is that's all learnable. Nobody expects you to walk into medical school already knowing anatomy. Nobody expects you to perform your first injection like you've been practicing for 20 years. You learn, you refine, you build confidence through repetition. But for some reason, we expect founders to magically know how to lead people, read financials, build culture, navigate conflict, make high-stakes decisions, and scale a company just because they opened a business. It's an impossible expectation. And here's what's fascinating. The challenges you're facing today probably aren't random at all. They're probably just a reflection of the stage your business is in, because every business evolves. The question is just whether the leader evolves with it. So today I want to walk you through what I've come to believe are the 6 distinct stages every business goes through. But more importantly, I want to talk about the leadership that each of those stages requires, because I think we spend too much time thinking and asking about how to grow our business when maybe the better question is, who do I need to become so my business doesn't outgrow me? The first stage is what I call birth. This is the moment you decide to take an idea that only exists in your head and bring it into the world. It's exciting and terrifying and exhilarating and sometimes a little bit delusional. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean that every entrepreneur actually has to be a little bit delusional in the beginning, because if we truly understood everything that we were signing up for, most of us probably wouldn't even start. This is the stage where your courage matters more than competence. You don't have to have all the answers yet. You don't have to have the systems, the team. You probably don't even have to have much certainty outside of one thing, which is, I'm going to figure it out. When I think about founders we've worked with over the years, this stage is almost always fueled by conviction. You know you're capable of creating something better. Maybe you're leaving a corporate job. Maybe you're leaving another practice because you know there's a better way to care for your patients. Maybe you've reached a point where you can no longer listen to that voice telling you it's time to build something of your own without taking action. And here's what's so beautiful about the stage. You don't have to spend much time overthinking leadership because, quite frankly, there isn't anyone to lead yet. The only person you're responsible for is yourself. So your biggest leadership challenge isn't leading other people. It's leading yourself. It's having the discipline to show up when nobody knows your name. It's making investments before there's proof that they'll pay off. It's continuing to believe in your vision after a slow month, a difficult patient interaction, or a launch or an idea that didn't go the way you hoped. And by the way, you'll have a million people in your ear telling you did it wrong. I think that's something we don't talk about enough. You know, people love celebrating entrepreneurship. They hype the grand opening and the logo and the beautiful office and the ribbon cutting and all of those fun things. But very few people celebrate the founder sitting alone on a Tuesday night, wondering if she just made the biggest financial mistake of her life. Nothing sexy to post about that on Instagram, let me tell you. That's leadership. In fact, I'd argue that's where leadership begins, because before anyone else is willing to follow your vision, you have to be willing to follow it yourself. This is also where I see founders unintentionally create their first leadership ceiling. They become so attached to doing everything themselves that they struggle with the thought of spending any real money on building a team. So they piecemeal part-time help, family, contractors, essentially give themselves an even busier manager role in their business and often can't break out of this cycle. So maybe you're answering phones, ordering supplies, posting on Instagram, and you're treating patients, reconciling QuickBooks at midnight, and praying your payroll clears for yourself. That's normal in the beginning, if you're paying yourself. I mean, that's the rite of passage. The problem is when that identity becomes permanent, because eventually the very habits that helped you survive this stage become the habits that keep you stuck in it. One of the things that I tell founders is this: your first job is to prove your business can survive, but your next job is to prove it can survive without depending on you for everything. Most entrepreneurs don't realize these are two very different set of leadership skills. So how do you know you're ready to move into the next stage of business growth? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You reach the point where your biggest challenge is no longer finding work, it's handling all the work that you've created. That's the moment that your business starts asking something very different of you. Not more hustle and grind and longer hours, a different leader. The second stage of business growth is what I call infancy. Just like an infant, your business suddenly needs constant attention. It's alive now. People are buying from you. Money is coming in, referrals are starting to happen, your dreams are coming true. But are they? Because behind the scenes, you're exhausted. This is usually the stage where you've proven your idea works. You no longer spend all of your time wondering if anyone's going to pay premium dollar for your services. They now value your results. Now you're asking yourself something completely different. How on earth am I supposed to keep up with all of this? And this is where founders become what I jokingly call you incorporated. You are the marketing department, the salesperson, the provider, the customer service rep, the bookkeeper, the HR department, the janitor, the visionary. And if something breaks, congratulations, you're it too. Sound familiar? The irony is that people are applauding you. They see your busy schedule and your growing business. Maybe you've hired someone at the front desk or brought on a part-time medical assistant. But inside, it often feels really heavy because every single thing still does depend on you. At the end of the day, no one's going to love your business as much as you. And this is where I see founders fall into one of the biggest traps in entrepreneurship. They confuse being needed with being successful and wear exhaustion like a badge of honor, tell themselves, well, this is just what it takes. This is entrepreneurship. And for a little while, they're right. It does take that in the beginning. This stage requires sacrifice. It requires grit. It requires wearing more hats than probably anyone should wear. But it doesn't require staying there forever. The leadership shift in this stage is subtle, but it's one of the most important you'll ever make. You have to stop asking, how can I get more done today? And start asking, what should no longer require me? And those are completely different questions. One creates a harder working founder, the other creates a scalable business. This is usually the first time you start trusting someone else with a piece of your vision. Maybe you hire your first revenue-driving employee to be your mini-me. And let's be very honest together, this is uncomfortable because no one's going to do it exactly like you. And you'll try to let go and then think, well, I would have said that differently, or that's not how I would have handled that patient, or my personal favorite, it would have been done 10 times faster if I had just done it myself. And you're probably right, at least in the short term. But leadership isn't about doing things the fastest. It's about building people who can eventually do them without you. And that's a very different kind of investment, maybe a slow one. One of the things I remind our clients all the time is this: delegation isn't just about getting things off of your plate. It's about creating capacity. Because if every new patient, every new team member, every new opportunity simply creates more work for you, you haven't actually built a business. You've just built a busier job. So how do you know you're ready for the next stage? Well, it's when you realize the biggest constraint in your business is no longer demand. It's you. It's your calendar, your decision-making, your brain, your availability, your capacity. And once you recognize that, your business starts asking you to stop being the savior and start becoming the leader. So as we wrap up today, I want you to pause for a minute and ask yourself a simple question. Which stage am I actually in? Not the stage you wish you were in or the one your revenue suggests you're in, but the stage your leadership is asking of you right now, because that's the whole point of this series. Every season of growth asks something different of us. In the beginning, it's about leading yourself. Then it's about learning to trust other people with pieces of your vision. And if you can successfully navigate those first two stages, you've done something really incredibly important. You've proven your business can survive. But what comes next is where most founders start to hit ceilings that keep them stuck. That's exactly what we're going to unpack in our next episode. Hey, before you go, if today's episode felt like I was speaking directly to you, I want you to know that you don't have to navigate the next stage of growth alone. You don't have time to keep trying tactic after tactic when you're a high-growth, ambitious, talented founder. You're building and scaling a world-class brand and need the specific, practical, and actionable guidance to implement exactly what you need, exactly when you need it. And that is exactly why we created the industry's first and only Life First Business Foundations program to fast-track your business acumen and readiness. Introducing Aesthetic Business School. Over the last decade, we've had the privilege of advising hundreds of aesthetic and wellness founders. And here's what I know for sure. Our industry does an exceptional job teaching us how to become world-class clinical providers, but almost no one teaches how to become world-class business owners and leaders. Aesthetic Business School was designed to change that. This is our brand new 6-week virtual business program created specifically for founders who are crossing their first $1 million in revenue, who know they're ready for more. Maybe your business has grown faster than your systems. Maybe you've built a great practice, but you still feel like you're wearing way too many hats. If you're simply tired of feeling like you're figuring it all out through trial and error or on your own, you found your partner. Inside Aesthetic Business School, we'll help you build the business foundations that every growing company needs. You'll develop the leadership skills to confidently build and lead a team, learn how to understand the financial drivers of your business, create operational systems that scale, make better strategic decisions, and build the infrastructure that allows your business to grow without requiring so much more of your time and energy every step along the way. And more importantly, we're going to help you make that shift from thinking like a provider to leading like a CEO, because that's the transformation that will change everything for you in your business. Aesthetic Business School is also the perfect stepping stone into our world-class Pop Leadership Academy, where we help founders scale and expand leadership, operational excellence, and the organizational structure required to create extraordinary life-first companies. If you're wondering whether this is the right move for you, I'd love to invite you to book a discovery call with our team. We'll learn more about your business, where you are today, where you want to go, and help you determine the best path forward. You can book your discovery call by visiting the link in the show notes. And if you're ready to become the leader capable of achieving your greatest business potential, we'd be honored to help you get there. Head to the link in bio or klcleadership.com to learn more.